What's going on, everybody? We all know in basic military training, visual aids just really help us to really understand. I want you to think back to when somebody explains something to you audibly, and then as soon as you saw a picture or you saw a demonstration, you were like, oh, snap, that's how it, okay, now I understand. Well, as a military training instructor, you want to do the same thing. You want to give as much information as humanly possible. So just so you know, there are no regulations against hanging things on walls to make it easier for your trainees to obtain the objective and your desire of whatever objective that you want them to attain. So let's get that out right now. So I want to talk about my visual aids that I normally use for my trainees so that they have no excuse why they're not crushing BMT, and they have no excuse why they can't be the most disciplined flight in your squadron. So here we go. First thing that I do is I hook up entry control. I put visual aids everywhere. I'm talking about out of the lesson plan, I might copy and paste it and I'll categorize it. Anything to do with the door, guess what? I'll put it on the door. And then if I'm at the door and they have trouble, I say, read the gosh darn door. And then it helps them to understand that everything that I hung up is for their benefit because I'm on their team. Because I'd rather them mess up with me and me fix it than somebody else, like maybe the commander or something, and they jack it up. So we ain't got to do all that. So that's the first thing I do. I hook up entry control. So the door stuff, special instructions, all that on the door. And I also tell them that they will read the door before they assume entry control duty. I also will hang up gas, bomb, and fire. I'll hang that up so that they can, after every shift change, I want to hear a silent, not hear, but I want to see a silent drill. So I should be just watching them, and they should be coming through my office just walking right in with a rifle. They don't need a knock or anything because guess what they're doing? They're practicing, and I want them to practice. I don't care if they want to come in and do their job. I don't want them to be afraid to come in the flight office because oftentimes during like an evaluation from stand team, they'll be afraid to go in your flight office. Nah, do your job. Get in this flight office and make sure there ain't no trainees up in this mud. All right, so I hook up entry control. Also put the evacuation up there too. I make them like, I'll say, hey, look, whoever the 12 ECs are, and what I do is I'll hire the 12 EC masters to train the rest of the flight, and I'll spend some like an hour or two training these 12 ECs that are on. They're going to be on every shift that's open, basically. So if they're not in classes or whatever, if the flight's in the dorm, one of the 12 are on shift. Because think about it, there's 12 shifts. So there's always some type of master on at all times training somebody else. And then after everybody's trained, then I'll say, hey, if you're one of the 12 masters, then you're only on it during the day and everybody else can have it at night because there's not a lot of action at night. So I'll make some type of deal, whatever like that. But for any type of like DV visits and anybody knocking on the door or anything, I want my masters to be answering that door every single time. So that's another way I hook them up. So I also make these cards. It's called special instruction cards. So I'll have like a major emblem on it. It'll say special instruction, treat me as a female major. And then I'll say treat me as a male colonel. And there's already a colonel in the dormitory already. You know, treat me as a Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force female. You know, and making sure that they understand when to do the special instructions. So I have these little cards. I think I've handed it out. If you ever need it, hit me up. I'll send you the PDF. So these are the things that I'll do for entry control. In the latrine, I'll hang up memory work up in that mug on the stall walls. It's a training aid. Give them no excuse not to master everything. So the way that you do your memory work, you don't have to master squadron. That is not mandatory, and it's not mandatory to give them memory work anyway. It's just a nicety. When what I find with memory work is in the squadron, it doesn't have every question to everything Stanton will ask the trainee. So what I do is, when I make my memory work, I copy paste every evaluation and put it on the back. Every evaluation, font 6. You better read it. You better read it. So there's never an excuse why they're not crushing it. So if I give them all the information and they don't do well in the Commander's Excellence, that's all on them. But I'm going to give them everything that I can to increase their chances. So you got all that in the stall. In the day room, my visual aids, I put the weekly activity checklist on there. I want everybody to see what's going on. Because sometimes there'll be miscommunication between maybe the shifts of the MTIs and somebody's not tracking it, and during the evening brief, you know, the element leader might say today and say, hey, sir, are we packing tonight for San Clown issue? It might be a rookie instructor or whatever the case is, and might save the day. So these visual aids are also going to help the instructor as well. So, of course, I put MTIR everywhere, but I generate my own MTIR according to Recruit Living Area Maintenance, because the current MTIR does not reflect the verbiage of the lesson plan. It changes the words, and when you change the word, you change the meaning. So I make my own. So not only do I know the Recruit Living Area Maintenance lesson very well, but I also know what's not in the regulations. So you got to understand that MTIR has lesson plan and 36.3 stuff in it, and one 2905 little blurb in there. And they don't even get the 2905 blurb in there right. So we have to make sure that we know the regulations. So I have created an MTIR sheet that reflects everything in the regs and the paragraph number, so that you can research it and look at it. And guess what? It's manipulable. So you can change it if the reg changes. So I know paragraphs, numbers change, different verbiages change. You can change it on the fly. But right now, as it stands, I need to make sure I know the regulations. So I'll leave it like that. And then finally, in my flight office are all the PCs that are relevant to pushing on the line, pushing on them streets. So I'll print all those PCs out, because my iPad dies, I don't want to worry about it. I also have a DIPS kit where I have one pencil, one pen, a blank 128 Alpha, another PC already printed out, because if my team needs it, if across the hall needs it or whatever like that, they can just grab and go. And I have multiple copies of everything in there. And if they want to practice, let's go. If they have students, I got a DIPS kit right here, hooking them up inside the clipboard. Let's go. Nobody touches the DIPS kit. Nobody touches that thing. So these are some of the visual aids that I hang around the dormitories, not only to help the trainees, but also to help me out as well. Look, you can hang up more stuff, like hang up more WASs or whatever like that. One more thing that I forgot to mention was, on the WASs, I always highlight the transits. So laundry crew knows, if I'm in RHET or whatever like that, I'd be like, laundry knows when not to do laundry. So if there's a transit, 2 hours before the transit, they better not be doing no laundry, because they won't have time to wash and dry it. So that's what I usually do. So that's all I got. Love your faces. And if y'all come up with a topic, hit me up. God bless. Take care.